as to what they're going to do with their money.
Yeah.
And they fall trapped to a lot of games. Because not only the mob, you got women, you got other people coming with them with schemes to
Mm-hmm.
try to get their money. It's
Mm-hmm.
a big, everybody's looking at a big payday once a professional athlete gets some money. Not only the underworld, but just family members and whoever.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen. I know I'm not gonna call his name, but I've seen a young man got a big contract to an NFL team, and now he's broke, and he ain't been out of the league 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Investing in family businesses and people coming at him with different type of schemes. So, it's sad, but unless the player has an understanding of financial literacy and some discipline, he falls prey to a lot of stuff.
And that's hard to navigate because you got the people that got you there. Hey, I'm your mama. I took you all to your games in Pee Wee League, and I took care of you. I fed you. Now the whole family's got their hand out. How do you navigate something like that, or try
Yeah.
to get to the point to that family doesn't turn their back on you because you said no? I mean,
Well,
you can't feed and give everybody, because what I've seen and what I've heard is once you do that, it's not going to stop.
well,
It keeps coming
the
back.
way of handling that is, in my opinion, of course, I ain't been blessed to get to that point, but one of the things you do when you know or you have the intuition that, you know what, I'm going to be able to go to the next level with this. The first thing I think you do is you start looking at people that's been there before you, and you see how things have worked out for them. The second thing you do in your mindset, you sit down with your family. You sit down with your mother. The most important people you're looking out for is your mother, your father, maybe a couple of siblings, whatever. All those aunts, uncles, cousins. Hey, you know what? I'll see y'all when I can, because you might get that first contract. You're really fighting to get that second one.
And that
And that
makes
third.
sense. That makes sense, Mark. But they're not. I don't say every situation, but a lot of situations they don't come directly to that player. They'll go to that player's mother, talk to that mother, and say, "Hey, can you look out for a little Ray and cousin Kenny and Leon, and can you look out for Auntie? And can you, the mother is the one that's coming to that player and saying, hey, make sure you take care of grandma. Make sure you take care of your uncle. Make sure you take care of, me and your dad. And then don't forget your brothers and sisters." It gets to the point where I'm using the mom as a conduit to get the money out of your pocket. And that's the part of which was tough to navigate. How do you say no to mom?
Because you don't. But what happens is that, in my opinion, that's where his mom's job to protect you.
True.
That's where his dad's job to protect you. That's where they supposed to build that fort around you and say, "Hey, ain't nobody. We ain't letting everybody put their hands on." He you know what? That's where you're supposed to be protected there. And of course, a lot of it depends on where you came from, where your upbringing was,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I'm not going to mention a name, but I grew up with a guy, several, but this one particular guy, he went to the NFL, came home first or second year in the league. He was going to have a birthday party for his mom down at this place downtown back home. I went to him, talked to him. I said, dude, you know what? You might want to be careful with that, because you're having a party for your mom. Everybody's invited. Not everybody's happy for your success. Something can end up going wrong. I said, why don't you
Taylor story.
have something for your parents, your mom, make it intimate, that, some of her friends, et cetera, et cetera. You got to limit it. Well, he didn't listen. He had that party for his mom. Seemed really nice. All of a sudden, later on that night, all hell broke loose. I mean, we're fighting all over town. Guess who ends up in jail? And he ain't done nothing. Him. But needless to say, I guess that was a wake up call he needed, because he said after that, he said, you ain't got to ever worry about nothing else, because I ain't doing it no more.
Yeah.
And he has not. And he has, I put it to you like this: after his career, he's on TV now, doing some things, really big things. So it depends on where, your background. I don't believe, and this is just my opinion, never believed you had to have a posse of people. I ain't never believed in that. Because my mindset is, okay, the day you quit, the day you retire or whatever happens, where do they go? because they should have been they should have been having a life regardless, not sitting up here depending on you or being
Right.
your hype or being a hype man for you and telling you everything you want to hear. I mean, so you have to limit different things. I don't know. Mr. Sparrow can probably bring this in better to me. Have you noticed a lot of times when young brothers get the opportunity to play at a pro level, like they say, the first thing you got to get is the cars, the suits, all that. But you ever notice the counterpart? And I understand they come from a different economic background, but the white players still live a very simple life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they
Mm-hmm.
you know, they still live in a regular neighborhood. They drive a little pickup truck, you know, stuff like that. They don't come with all this other stuff.
A lot of them come from money.
No, that's why I said they come from a different economic background. But the point I'm making is sometimes if you just sit and watch, you might learn something. And what I mean by that is when you first get into a situation like that, live a simple life. Get you a couple contracts under you before you, I mean, I ain't saying you can't go out and get you a nice outfit, but hey man, these brothers was having dudes coming out, custom tailor-made suits. The guy, you know, they have people come out and meet them in the city. How many times you gonna wear that suit?
I agree with you, Mark. I totally agree.
I mean, you got to sit up. You got to have a Phantom. Come on, hold on. Let's slow down.
I agree with you on that, but you have to understand it from the other side of the coin. If I grew up and my mother grew up, my dad grew up, my grandfather grew up, and they never had money ever, and now I jump into this where all of a sudden I'm 18 years old and I got $50 million. What do you think I'm going to do? Right?
Well,
I agree with you. I'm agreeing with you, but it's just if I came from nothing, I never had nothing, and all of a sudden I hit the lottery, I'm not gonna live a simple life. I'm not gonna be quiet with it. I'm gonna go and do this, and this because I never had it before. My mother never had it before. My generational family never had it before. So I don't know how to build generational wealth. I don't know how to spread it.
I'll put it to you like this, Derek. If I played Powerball tonight, damn, and I won.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you now, ain't nobody know. I mean,
and that's smart because you already have the knowledge of how to build generational wealth.
I mean, I'm gonna still do the simple things I do.
Years old.
I'm gonna still do the simple thing. I guess what I say on the standpoint of a young athlete. See, that's what your agent is supposed to have the best interest for you in, and giving you advice on what to do and what not to do. And how, and somebody, you know, I see where the league sets up these different seminars for these guys and telling them how to invest, what not to do, what to do. Don't get caught up into this. Even to a point where they had a lady come in there and play this game like she flirting with one. They thought they were. I mean, you gotta be careful. I mean, at some point, I understand what you're saying, but we can't keep using that excuse that, oh, we didn't come from this. Hell, you know how to talk to a woman. So you know when a woman got your best interest. If this girl didn't like me 5 months ago, but now I didn't hit the thing and she liked me, you mean my common sense ain't gonna say, oh, it's got to be because of the money? I mean, come on. I mean, some of this stuff is common sense. I mean, you know, in the NFL case, in the NFL guy's case, is real common sense because the only money you getting guaranteed to you is that signing bonus. You know, after that, it's a wrap. In NBA, your money might be guaranteed to you, but you see how quick they putting these dudes on the commissioner's list where you ain't getting paid. All you got to do is look on that NFL 30 for 30. They had this thing about broke, how they showing athletes. They had a thing about these athletes and how after they retire, how quick. Like Burke Scott said best, you got a lot of thousandaires in there. There's a lot of millionaires because their money goes as quick as it comes. There's no education on telling a cat don't go out there having 8 kids by 8 different women.
There's one.
I know a couple of guys like that.
Yeah. What I recently learned, and I heard this from Warren Sapp,
Yes,
was
sir.
after you retired, after that 5th year of being out of the NFL, there is no healthcare no more for them. They have to go out and buy their own healthcare and pay out of pocket. And that's normal, you know, for regular human beings. But as a healthcare person or person working in healthcare, would it be financially smart for this Kaiser to bring in Warren Sapp and insure him, knowing his body is beat to hell? You know, like that's what's difficult about a lot of these athletes and things that, you know, people that don't play sports like myself and others don't understand how they lose their money so fast after they retire. I had no idea that health insurance was pulled from them like that. They're on their own.
Yeah, they don't get it.
Well, see, the NBA. See, this is where the NBA can be cold. I know this dude. I know him. The guy in the NBA, Tony Snell. He played in the league. He had to play. I think he just had to sign with a team, and he would have got, I think, his 10th year or something like that, which would have insured him medical insurance for the rest of his life and his family. And they knew he had a special needs kid. Guess what? Nobody ever gave him a shot. Never signed.
Mm-hmm. They wouldn't sign it.
See, this has just been in the last year or two. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And see, this, when it comes to the NFL, I think their medical insurance and stuff is different now. But see, this is where, especially if I'm in the NFL, that's got to be the most important thing you can have is medical insurance, because your body gets put through hell.
Yeah.
That lets you know how the Players Association and the union ain't looking out the way they're supposed to, because a lot of that could be negotiated and when it comes up for contracts and things like that with the Players Association and the NFL. So, some of these things guys have to use common sense with. I understand what you're saying. I'm 100% with you. But I also understand this. And I guess the best way to put it is 2 weeks ago, I'm eating Spam and top ramens and making a pack of Kool-Aid go to three gallons of juice. To now I'm in a position where I've got this money and it looks good, it feels good, but I don't want to go back to that Spam. So the best way to do that is to be smart with this, because if I'm not smart with this, that Spam you're talking about throwing out in the cabinet, you might want to keep it there, because you will be seeing it again.
Yes.
If you don't go about handling your business right. And that's the way I look at it.
But I noticed that you keep saying that, common sense, but common sense is not common, brother.
I agree with you.
I like what the brother said about the agent. That's what I've been hearing from a lot of professional athletes that I know. If you don't get the right agent, you kind of stuck. You got to get somebody that represents you, because it's difficult unless you have a wife that's a lawyer or somebody in your family that's a lawyer. It's hard to represent yourself against the owners and the other people that they have.
Yep.
But I agree that somebody has to teach that athlete about being financially literate. And I agree with the brothers that said that your family, and I've heard this a lot from agents and NFL players, your family can be your worst enemy.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right. You're right. I've heard that a number of cases. I know personally an athlete that's not even 27 years old that lost a lot of money because he tried to help his family members out.
Mm-hmm.
And they come, like you say, your family members, they come to you with schemes and how to get rich. And then, the thing that hurts us, especially black folks, how we act around Christmas time and things like that. We want to give everybody the most elaborate presents we can give.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody expects to get the most elaborate presents they can get.
Mm-hmm.
We just spend money. We're not conscious when we spend our money. It's very difficult for us to understand that we need to save, and that one day we're going to be 60, 70 years old. And what do we have to look back on? What do we have?
Mm-hmm.
Because our Social Security and the other things are not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's where, Mr. Sparrow, again, you and the other gentlemen would know this way better than I do, but that is where you see guys like, rest in peace, guys like Junior Bridgman, that in the summer, during the off season, he went into different mentor programs and business programs and turned himself basically into a billionaire. I mean, instead of going out on these lavish trips and going to the Dominican and all that for the summer, hey, involve yourself in some financial literacy
Right.
classes and learn about what you have gotten for yourself and how you can protect yourself and what could I do to expand this money once I am done playing.
But
Because-
Mark, that's not what the internet says. The internet says I need to be a passport, bro. I need to be going over to Dubai. I need to be doing this. I need to get this, and I need to do that. So it goes back to influence and what surrounds us at all times, 24 hours a day. And I agree with you. The internet, while it's the information highway, it can be detrimental to a lot of ideas and things that you do in your life. I mean, it can make you make a lot of bad decisions if you don't have the common sense and the know-how of what to do.
Well,
So I agree.
I mean, like I said, you know what? You see a lot of old school cats that played in the league that didn't make that type of money. But man, they sure has been smart since they've been out the league with different things, businesses they've went into.
Yeah.
They've educated themselves because hey, they knew that back in the day, a lot of those guys had to get jobs in the summertime or had to do different things, and they learned. And I mean, that other stuff can wait. I mean, I read an article on Vinnie Johnson where I think the most he ever made when he played in the NBA may have been $100,000-$200,000. That dude's a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you saw Junior Bridgman do it. I mean, you have to want to do some of this. It can't always be again, but it also takes a great great agent, financial advisor to guide you in those steps. Because yes, you're gonna be ignorant to it because you don't know. Hell, we don't know about all that stuff. But you got to set yourself up for after, because the average NFL life is what, maybe 4 or 5 years, and the way these dudes been going down with Achilles tendons injuries, hell, it might be less than that. With all these different things happening,
a lot of the stuff, Mark, comes with wisdom. Wisdom isn't given out when you're 18, 19, 20 years old. You know, it comes from experience. You have to. Sometimes you got to learn the hard way. You know.
Well, you know what?
Life.
I do believe this. When you see all those guys back at the Knicks games, John Starks, Latrell Sprewell, Bernard King, all those great players. Yeah. You mean to tell me they don't ever reach out to none of these young dudes that might be on the Knicks team and say, young fella, let me talk to you for a minute?
No, I'm sure they do.
You can't tell me they don't. It becomes a thing where that young brother needs to listen.
That's what I'm talking about. They have to accept that knowledge that's being passed to them.
See, what part to get skipped there is a lot of these cats don't want to hear nothing. Oh, hey man, I got my money. No, brother, It ain't that simple. That money ain't gonna always be there. You got to do something to make sure it stays. And so you can't. I mean, it would be hard for me to believe you get to do like Magic. Have you noticed how all these guys that played like in the 70s, 80s, that's retired? Man, they did what they had to do when it came to investing, going to whatever they did to get things going.
Magic had one of the worst contracts of all time. But that
wasn't going to last but a year or two. When he signed that for 25 years, $25 million back then, that wasn't going to last. I think they ended up doing that like the next year. They knew that wasn't going to work. But the point is, he also had a great agent that led him in the right direction, in Lon Rosen, that led him. And he was, and with Magic, I mean, he got involved. He was smart. I mean, he got involved with the guy that owned Ebony Magazine and that brother that owned that had a big stake in Pepsi Cola or Coca-Cola. He took himself back, because you got to remember, Magic left school his sophomore year.
Right.
And he took himself back to educate himself on what do I do after this. And that's what a lot of these guys have to do. I mean, you can't make them, but they need to. And if you don't educate yourself, you will be back at that cabinet with that spam in it sooner than you would think.
Right.
The next Antoine Walker.
Yeah, guys, it's almost 5 o'clock.